Welcome to a fun little padlock. This rubber-wrapped padlock was given to me by Viktor when we were on vacation, and he asked me to take it along and bring it to the lock lab to take it apart and look at the pins, because he expects to find some very special pins inside. And yeah, we will have some fun with this lock first, and then I will gut it and we will inspect the guts and see if Viktor was right with his assumption regarding the driver pins. This lock looks very much like an ABUS water-resistant padlock, but it's not. You can see no writing of ABUS here on the lock. And in fact, it's a cheap Chinese copy and actually a pretty terrible lock. And I will show you why. First, let's look at the keyway. It's a really wide open keyway, and when we put a tensioner inside, maybe another one, different one, we can see how floppy this core is. So pretty bad tolerances here on this lock. Oh yeah, next we can see the material where the plug is put into, so the core. I believe that's plastic. I believe we've got a plastic core. And I have a needle here, so I stick my needle inside and it sticks. So you can't do this with metal, of course. Yeah, I believe we've got a plastic core. Maybe I should operate this lock before we start with the actual fun. Interestingly, it opens in both directions, so I turn it clockwise and I turn it counterclockwise, and it opens in both directions. That's pretty unusual, but that's how it works. All right, I will take off this cover here so that we can play with this lock a little bit easier. It's locked on both sides, so it's a double locking system. You can see this from the cutouts, and it's actually true. It's not a fake. But look at the shackle, what happens when I turn the plug. You've seen this side comes out a little bit. That means the tolerances are so bad that when I turn the plug just with my tension wrench without touching the pins, this shackle will come out on one side. So I put it in again and turn the plug again. And it comes out a little bit. Yeah, that's one funny thing. Another funny thing is that it's not shielded, so we can poke in a knife, and when I do it right, we can open up this lock. So the locking poles that are located in this area, which are spring-loaded, are not shielded, so we can access it with the tip of this knife, and as these are two, we need to set them both. Maybe this one is already set because I turned the plug, and then it opens when I get the other one out of the way. Yeah, it's a spring-loaded locking system. Oops, spring-loaded locking system, as you can see. And when the locking poles here are not shielded, you can access them with a knife and retract them. Okay, so how are the other methods to open up this lock? Maybe we should try raking. Yeah, you've heard it opens halfway, so one side of the shackle is now free, and we can rake it to open up the lock completely. Let's see if this works. I tried raking before and it worked really nice, but not this time on camera. Maybe I have damaged the plastic core a little bit and the binding order has changed, I don't know. But then I tried turning the plug the opposite direction, and this works much better, so let's try that. And it's open. Let's try it again. Yeah, much better. Okay, now let me pick it and then we'll take it apart. For picking, I tension the plug on the open side. Just make sure not to get stuck at a rivet. And use a, oops, no, the wrong pick. Use a Sparrow's hybrid pick. Zoom in a little bit. Maybe we can see some feedback from the plug. Start in the back. One is binding. Maybe we can see a little bit of feedback. Yeah, it was a bit of counter rotation. I hope you have noticed that. And that's why Viktor believes that we will find these cheap Chinese kind of spool drivers inside here. These driver pins, they look like being cut from a wire and mangled so that they appear to look somehow like a spool. Yeah, this lock is sometimes really tricky to pick for me. Oh, now it's open. I was lucky. Sometimes I have to work on this lock a little bit longer to get it picked. I don't know why. Anyhow, that's all I can play with this lock. Picking, raking, using the knife to get it open. Now I will see that I can get off these rivets and then we will look inside. Stay tuned. So this turned out much less difficult than I thought. I cut away the rivets here and pried away this first plate, and here we can see the guts. The shackle spring came out. It's used to push the shackle out automatically when you unlock the lock. So put this to the side. Here we can see the core, and indeed it's a plastic core. So let's see if we can pull it out. Yep. Okay, here's the cam that interacts with the locking poles, which are located around here. Okay, we'll inspect this a little bit later, but now I want to see what the core looks like, and here you can see how floppy it is. Yeah, there's a retaining clip, so let's get this off. So the tailpiece comes off. I think we can just slide it out now. Okay, I don't bother using a plug follower, so here we go. Okay, so that's the key. That's the plastic housing. Very disappointing. Of course, this wears out relatively quickly, so you get awful tolerances. That's the plug. Interesting with these dents here on the side. 4-pinner. But it appears to be brass. Or? Let's use a file and see how it looks like underneath. It's very lightweight. Well, I don't think that this is, maybe it's aluminum and just painted yellow so that it appears to be brass. I don't think that this is brass. Alright, let's have a look at the pins. So here's the pin situation of this lock. As expected, we see that it has these cheap Chinese kind of spool drivers in it. Oh yeah, the springs are made from steel. The key pins are all standard, nothing special to it. And here we have these, oh, it's magnetic. Here we have these spools that look just like being cut from a wire and somehow mangled. Interesting that these are magnetic. So they are not made from aluminum, they are not made from brass, but they are yellow and magnetic. Very interesting. Strange alloy. Anyhow, so that's what we find in this lock. Yeah, we have this probably made from aluminum plug. We have a plastic housing, very disappointing. We have the shackle spring, we have the end plate, we have the tailpiece and the retaining clip. Yeah, and here we have the housing again. Maybe look into that a little bit more deeply. So currently the lock is in a locked up state, so the two locking poles are blocking the shackle, and here we can see that's one and that's the other. So that's why you can insert a knife and just move them aside. So let's see if we can open up this lock. I just gently pull on the handle and use the screwdriver to push this to the side. The first one is the one that's more deeply inside, that's binding. I think I got it. I felt a little give on the shackle, so it came out a little bit. Now I push the other one out of the way and the lock is open. Alright, so that's basically it. Lock taken apart, looked at the components. Very cheaply made. Not very satisfying, but very interesting to see. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this lock. So Viktor, thank you very much for giving it to me for a section. Yeah, everybody else, I hope you also had some fun watching this, and until we meet again, happy picking and bye bye!